We are on the outskirts of the village of Koje-do, which was the battlefield of the 2nd RCR at the end of May 1951. One of the Canadians who fought here was Ed Mastronardi.
Well, the country was certainly very different than anything you're used to. You're going into a completely strange environment.
Oh, absolutely. And remember, too, that it was so miserable for the people. I mean, well, they were virtually all refugees. They were frightened. They were terrified. They were frightened. And looking around here and being able to sit in this place, in this village, after what, the shattering and the shelling and the cleaning we took, it kind of seemed like it was kind of all worthwhile. And it was really wonderful. And it kind of makes you feel kind of proud.
I'll have more beer myself. Ed, ready to go?
Yeah.
We're going to go and try to find your old route up to Hill 467.
Okay, let's do that.
On May 30th, the Canadians spearhead the UN advance north. And at 7 a.m., the 700 men of the RCRs launched their assault towards the village of Koje-do. The plan calls for a 4-pronged assault. A Company will lead the attack to secure the village. B and C are to protect the flanks, while D Company attacks the main objective, the high ground on Hill 467.
In the distance, I could see 467. We thought they're going to have to stop somewhere. And we figured that probably would be it. And Rockingham decided he was going to hold the brigade there. And he no sooner stopped us than we heard pop, 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 pop.
So Ed, do you recognize any of these features?
Oh, yes. This looks like the Twin Peak, 464, 467. I look at the hills and I think of all the centuries. And here they are, still the same, exactly the same. And for centuries being the same, there have been a lot of campaigns waged over here, I'm sure. It's a very appropriate day to be here. I can feel it like it was. Yeah, yeah. In that direction is the Churwan Valley, and that was the main supply route from Manchuria for the Chinese troops. So that's why they reacted to our arrival here.
You poked a hornet's nest.
Yes, we poked a hornet's nest. A Company was to leave at 6 o'clock in the morning, and at that time there was an airstrike planned, but the weather was so bad, it had been a driving rain all night, that they had to cancel the airstrike. We couldn't get the proper artillery support. But one of the critical things was the maps we had were based on pre-war Japanese maps, and their scale was different. It wasn't until we did the actual reconnaissance and we said, oh my God, we're too far apart. The valley was so cloudy and misty, you could only see a few hundred yards up the road. Because when Medlin and A Company left on the half tracks and the tanks moved up towards Koje-do itself, they'd gone about maybe 300 or 400 yards and just disappeared in the mist. We couldn't see them.
This is the old village of Koje-do, and on May 30th, 1951, it was the objective of A Company of the Royal Canadian Regiment. And by 7 a.m., they had secured the village, and of course this allowed the other parts of the operation to take place, particularly against 467, the big height to the north. But by 11 a.m., all along the front, everyone was noticing a lot more Chinese activity. They were mortaring the positions, there was more artillery coming in. And here in Shali, they could see that the Chinese were trying to infiltrate around their positions to the rice paddies in the south and along the ridges to the north. From here you can see where C Company would have been on that ridge over here. And of course they had a pretty quiet day. It was so dark and the mist was so low that they really couldn't do much up there, but they held their positions well. But on the big height, you can see the twin peaks up there at 467. The fighting was really intensifying.
The men of D Company advance up the steep ridges leading to the summit of Hill 467. But as they near the top, they come under heavy machine gun fire from well-entrenched Chinese positions.
This is one of the ridges that leads to the top of Hill 467. And this position was very important to the Chinese. And you can see this by the fact they dug in so well that even after 50 years, their gun pits are still here. You can see they used stone. You can see a little mound here to protect the gunner. And of course, it's here to protect the re-entrant on this side of the ridge. On the morning of May 30th, 1951, 11 Platoon of the Royal Canadian Regiment stormed this ridge and, believe it or not, took it very quickly. And then they proceeded to advance to the summit. They were supposed to meet up with number 12 Platoon, who were advancing up that ridge over there. The problem is the Chinese machine guns on the summit had stopped their advance and inflicted many casualties.
We were coming up a well-worn path to a bit of an open area when a machine gun opened up. Some of the guys were left in the open. Paddy O'Connor said, "To hell with it. I'm going after my boys."
As the battle for 467 rages, the situation deteriorates. Despite the courage of the Canadians, they've yet to capture the crest. Desperate for information on why the attack is stalled, the CO orders his intelligence officer, Ed Mastronardi, to find out what's going wrong.
So you've been told to go and find out what's going on.
What's going on? Exactly, because we couldn't get communication, and we're getting all these reports that the Chinese were moving down, and we wanted to know, well, where are they?
So up here,
we couldn't see anything.
You come up this valley.
Yeah,
Now, those are the two peaks, right?
yeah.
That's 464.
467, that's right.
Okay.
And they were moving up, they were moving up that side, there.
Okay. What did you think when you saw them?
I said, oh my God, we got a problem. And then when I reported it to Keane, the first thing he had to do was to tell Rockingham. And when he told Rockingham, with Medlin in trouble here, he had ordered Keane to go back to the start line.
Does the Rockingham made the decision right away?
Oh yeah, right away. If we hadn't had so much experience in these men, it would have been a disaster. But a lot of the guys were Second War vets, and they cooled down the new guys, and this was you couldn't have had a more important learning experience for what was to come in the future than the battle we fought here.
At Shea